Good morning. Good morning. So nice to see you all here. This is the third Sunday of Advent, and we are focusing on love. We're focusing on love, and Reverend Jim's going to bring us a message to really take us through an exploration of what that means during Christmas time. But because we're celebrating the Advent and the third Sunday, we're going to be lighting 3 candles this week. The first candle, as you know, represents hope and faith. And as we light that candle, we're actually awakening the gift of that Christ presence within. So imagine as we light this candle, you feel that light within your heart. And as we light each one, the light increases. And this is a symbol of that light within. So join me as we light the first candle, hope and faith. So we have a new toy, which is a camera that moves automatically with us, but we have to tell it we're here. So if you see me raising my hand up and down, and Reverend Jim, we're telling the camera we're here. So we got a lot of fun new things this morning. So let's go back to our Advent candles. We lit the candle of hope and faith. The second candle is peace. And we talked about peace last week as the power of peace that is established within ourselves that we bring out to the world. And each step of this journey brings us closer to a true and a lasting peace that passeth understanding. So we light the second candle of peace as we invite that peace into our hearts. And today's the third Sunday of Advent in which we're going to focus on love. This third week of our journey into Christmas is really a journey about renewing us through the birth of our own inner Christ. So as our third candle represents love, we remember that love is God, God is love, and that power lives within us and expresses through us as us. Within the Christmas story, Mary represents love. And in the New Testament Gospel of Luke, we read that Mary said, "My soul magnifies the divine, and my spirit rejoices." So as I light the candle, we welcome the divine quality of love into our hearts. So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Unity of Charlotte. My name is Reverend Lisa Herklotz. I am co-minister here now with Reverend Jim, who will be giving us a Sunday message in just a few minutes. But we want you to know that Unity, here at Unity, we find this a place where we nurture a deep and mature experience of God through the practice of unity principles. These are universal spiritual principles, which when we put them into practice in our life, we become that whole beautiful expression of God and love in this world. Simply put, it means we are here to love, grow, and serve. If you're here for the first time, we'd like to know, and to our online community, welcome to you. If you're online for the first time, or if there's anyone here that's here for the first time, we just want to give you a warm, warm welcome and let you know that wherever you find yourself on your own spiritual journey, Unity welcomes you here. And we invite you to reach out to any one of us, go online to our website to find out a little bit more about who and what we are. Again, welcome, welcome. Now let's start today by affirming and praying together the unity prayer of oneness. So please join me. There is one presence and one power in my life and the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. And so it is. We want to let you know the holidays can sometimes be a stressful time. You may have some challenges going on. And if that's so, please reach out to us for prayer. Prayer is the foundation of the unity practice. And we're here to pray with you, or we have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week prayer line called Silent Unity. That phone number and our website can be found on our website. So please, don't try to do this alone. We're always ready to join with you in prayer. And if you have any prayer requests, be sure to put those in for anyone else that you know might need them. And I'm going to share the daily word today. As you might guess, the word is love. Yes, exactly. I answer the call to love, embracing the world. Love is both a noun and a verb, more than just a feeling. It is one of the highest intentions I can hold, and one of the most sacred actions I can take. Love is the name and nature of God, the pulsation of oneness from the center of my heart to the farthest reaches of earthly existence. On this third Sunday of Advent, love is also a call to action, an invitation to perceive the world through the Christ presence and live as the love I am. To live as the love I am. I open my heart and I let my love flow forth as kindness, gentleness, and compassion. I stay grounded in the presence of God through my prayers, and I radiate love through my kind words and actions. I trust my loving impulses will reach far and wide, and the light and joy I send forth grow and expand to encompass all things. And from 1 John 3:18, little children, let us love, not in word or speech, but in truth and action. Our daily word is love. How beautiful. All right, we're going to move to announcements. We've got a lot of things going on, so I'm going to move through it quickly. And then I'm going to be calling up Michael Brown, our board VP, to talk to us about a special year-end opportunity. First, our special services. Next Sunday, celebratory service. It's kind of a combination of a welcome for Reverend Jim and I, a chance to meet everybody, but also for everyone to get together and celebrate Christmas. We haven't really had an opportunity to do that, right? But and it's being held at the Doubletree by Hilton Hotel in South Park at 6300 Carnegie Boulevard. And there's going to be beautiful treats afterwards. So we'll have a chance to have real fellowship and get to talk to each other and wish each other happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And so I really invite you all to come because it is 11 o'clock. 11. You don't even have to get up early on that Sunday. So I hope I see all of you there. And to our wonderful online community, just a word that we are working through some technical challenges about getting Zoom because we're in a hotel room. We have to set up all of our AV. And we have an amazing collaboration of tech masters. they're laughing at me, doing their very best. We are going to do whatever we can to get Zoom working, but there's a possibility that we may not be able to. So I just want to let you know that if you try to get on and you can't, the service will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so you will be able to see it. And if you can at all, come in person and let us shake your hand and say hello and meet you, or elbow bump, whatever you feel comfortable with. We're happy to honor. So that's our celebratory service. And then following that comes our holiday traditions. The Burning Bowl service will be on Christmas Eve. No service Christmas Day. That will be here. The New Year's Eve, that's the Christmas Eve candle lighting. There we go, back on track. Christmas Eve candle lighting Here, December 31st, no service on Christmas Day. New Year's Eve, burning bowl and letter write to God service. That will be New Year's Eve, no service on New Year's Day. And January 8th is the White Stone ceremony. That's our regular service time. So January 8th, we'll be getting back to our regular schedule. We'll also be telling you more about January 8th because there's an MLK March and wreath placing that we will be participating in, and we'll tell you more about that in the days to come. Now, a quick announcement. We are doing a drive to collect warm socks, winter scarves, winter hats, winter gloves for Roof Above. Used to be called Urban Ministries, I believe. Michael Brown and Michael and Mary Brown have been long-time volunteers and service givers at this organization. So it's a really wonderful day shelter for those who are temporarily without a home, and they very much need warm socks, top of the list, but also gloves and hats and scarves. So please bring whatever you can to our Sunday service next week at the hotel. We will collect those, and Michael and Mary will get them to Roof Above. And now I'm going to invite Michael Brown, our board vice president, to the platform to announce our end of year giving campaign. While he's walking up here, let me just say thank you to Lawrence, the president, Michael Brown, the board, and all of the board members who have served this church so faithfully.
Thank you, Reverend Lisa. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, Reverend Lisa and I and Mary met with her and Reverend Jim. And as we were talking, some things came up, and she asked me if I'd be willing to come up here and just share a little bit of Mary and my story about how we learned to become what many people call a cheerful giver. You know, some of us are reluctant givers, or we give out an obligation, or for whatever reason. And that's pretty much the way that I gave before I came to Unity. Then when I came to Unity in 1995, we learned something different about giving, that it wasn't something that we were obligated to do. It was something that we became moved to do. And there are many Bible verses that talk about giving and trying to get people to give, but unfortunately, a lot of spiritual communities, churches, ministers try to guilt trip you into giving. Now, I'll take a moment here to talk about that. For the last, I don't know how long, month or two, if you looked on TV, you saw a lot of political commercials. And it seemed as soon as those political commercials were done, I've seen a lot of public service announcements about giving to different organizations. And all of these are very wonderful organizations. They really get you though when they put a child on there, don't they? When they put the children on there and say, give to the children, because, you know, they're going to make them well and healthy and all of that. And great, that's wonderful. I just wish they wouldn't try to guilt trip us into it. But I'll just say this, when Mary and I started learning, I think, a new idea about what giving meant and what giving means, we've begun to experience the blessings that many ministers talk about, because they want to treat it like it's some type of, I don't know, I don't call it a Ponzi scheme or anything, but it's, you know, it's like they're going to guilt trip you into it, because when you give, you're going to get back more and more and so forth and so on. And if that's what it takes for some churches to get people to donate, then so be it. But for me, Unity of Charlotte has taught me something different. That I give out of my heart. I wrote a few things down because my memory isn't quite as good as it used to be. And one of those things was a little message that I just got some years ago, and I wrote it down. And it says, I'm going to use the word tithing. I might mention just a little bit about tithing, the 3 T's of tithing, but I feel good about tithing or donations or whatever you want to call it. I feel good about tithing when I tithe to things I feel good about. I feel good about tithing or donating to organizations and people that I feel good about. And I do it grateful that I have the resources that have been, I believe, given to me by God, the universe, the divine, whatever word you want to use. So as we come to the close of this year, rather than waiting until New Year for our New Year's resolutions about what we're going to do, and we're going to be, I'm going to give more and I'm going to lose more and weight and, all those kind of things. Why not start right now? Because now is the only time we have. We've been wanting very much to have our new ministers. Actually, we'll be happy if we had one. I told Reverend Jim and Reverend Lisa that it was funny how one of the things I was taught is that whatever it is that I want, I can say this, it's equivalent or something better. I said, well, we got something better. Rather than one minister, we got two. Getting back to the idea of giving, a lot of times it's the end of the year and people really come at you and say, you're going to give before the end of the year as a part of helping whatever organization it is that you want to help grow and prosper. And I want to encourage you to do that. We finally have our ministers that we've been praying for. We've been praying for ministers, and we haven't. And I think one of the ways we can demonstrate our gratitude is by increasing our giving. We've got increased expenses. We'll talk more about that in January or February when we do our annual meeting. But we have more expenses, so of course we appreciate very much if we could see our giving increase as well. I hope I didn't offend anybody or feel like I'm doing what I said I didn't want to see other people doing that, is put anybody on a guilt trip or anything. That's not my intention. But it is my intention to say that we want you to be cheerful givers. We want you to understand some laws of prosperity that will help you prosper. From this moment forward, if you have been prospering, then, it's just a reiteration of those principles that have helped you prosper. So with that, I'll just say thank you in advance for all that you have done over the years. The last 3 years have been a challenge in several ways. And yet we've had such faithful givers here. And I want to encourage you to keep doing that and to encourage others to participate along with us in this new chapter, this new beginning that we're embarking on. Thank you so much.
So it is.
So it is.
Thank you, Michael. So excited to be working with all of these amazing individuals and can't wait to meet many more of you and get to know you. Unity understands the power of giving, because God only gives and we are expressions of God, but giving includes everything we receive. And this has been a very blessed place of giving. Now, let's go ahead and move into our affirmation for new space. Perfect. So please join me in affirming our new meeting space that is going to be our next great adventure together. Join me, please. We affirm that we have a new home for youth and Charlotte that fulfills every need, space, and use in order to support and share our unified purpose to love, grow, and serve. So it is. Well, it is my pleasure now to introduce Reverend Jim. And I just wanted to share a little story about Reverend Jim. When we met in Unity, as he shared a little bit last week, and as I got to know him, we have little apps on our phone that we like to play, and he is a trivia buff. He loves to play trivia. Well, he was on a Bible trivia game app on the phone, and he was ranked like #1 in the whole Jacksonville area. And I tried to play with him, And I mean, there's some obscure questions. So I'm like, I don't know how you're doing this. And then I found out Reverend Jim was raised Mormon. And Mormon children get a lot of Bible study in. And that as part of their training, they used to do timed quizzes where they say, okay, go find this in the Bible, and then go find that. And of course, Reverend Jim, a little bit competitive, with a little bit of a competitive nature. He made sure he knew where to find those. So he is, if you ever play trivia with him, be on his side. That's just all I have to say about that. But it's just a joy for me because I have to confess, I don't know the Bible in the way that he does. So I can go to him and go, Jim, I need a quote on it. And this is one of the ways we love working together as co-ministers, because we each bring different skills and experiences. And we're very, really looking forward to sharing them with you. So let's welcome Reverend Jim.
Thank you. I had no idea what story she was going to tell this morning. So yes, I grew up in the Mormon church, and we call that, I don't know if anybody else uses this term or not. Oh, it's not following me. I have to do my hand. There it is. It's blinking. Let me see. And now it's going to follow me. This is awesome. This is awesome. We've got technology working for us. I don't know if anybody else calls it. It's called the Scripture Chase. And we had, in high school, we met every morning, 6:30 in the morning. And for high school kids to get up at 6:30 in the morning, that's pretty amazing, right? But we studied the Old Testament. We studied the New Testament. We studied the Book of Mormon. We went through Scripture, right? We went through Scripture. And the official games we played were Scripture Chases, where we split the room in half, and it was a competition. And it was intense. It wasn't, I mean, literally chairs would be thrown across the room and stuff like that. I mean, we took it really seriously. So, but that's, these days, my trivia is much more laid back than that night. I love going to the pub, having a beer, and having trivia game. So I'm getting hand signals that I don't know what it means back
Put
then.
your hand up.
No, it's still following me. Yeah, it's still following me.
Mm-hmm.
Me and the technology are friends this morning. So I asked myself, switching gears here, as I'm researching Advent and our beautiful candles here. What is Advent? Not the technical term, but what is Advent to me? And I sat with that and I wondered. And for me, it's the anticipation of the season, of the holidays, the coming into place of Christmas. And I remembered that anticipation, and I wanted to bring it back into my life as well. I remember that anticipation as a child, probably starting at Thanksgiving, and then getting the question as a child, what do you want for Christmas? And then maybe even visiting Santa Claus at the mall, right? And from that point on, I couldn't wait. It was, I couldn't hardly even sleep at night thinking that Christmas was coming. That's the anticipation of the season that I want to bring back into my life. That's the anticipation that we're talking about. That hope, that faith, that peace. And today we're talking about love. Next week we'll talk about joy as well. But that anticipation that is there for us. In Christianity, it's four Sundays. And I already went through those weeks. These are virtues that we look into our own hearts to celebrate. Those are the virtues that we're talking about. Or what we also say within unity has that birth of the Christ within. And it is, we're not talking about, when we say the birth of Christ, within. We're not talking about Jesus Christ external and out in our lives. We're talking about that divinity from within. And when I say I see the Christ in you, I'm talking about I see the divinity shining forth from you. That's what we're talking about. This is the essence of that spiritual preparation for us as we move toward Christmas. That's what Advent is. That's what it means, at least to me. It's that unlimited potential of birth. And we do. We celebrate that, a new life within our lives, grandchildren or just generic children, as that unlimited potential. And that's what we're thinking about here as well. We've all heard that Christmas story of the birth of Jesus. But that's what it is. It is a story for us to use metaphysically within our lives to bring forth that spiritual presence within our lives. That's what this Christmas season means. That divine creation coming forth in our lives. I love denials and affirmations. I've created this an affirmation. If you're up for it, you can jot this down, and along with me, I carry this with me throughout the week, usually. I create an affirmation based on the lesson, based on Sunday, and then I usually carry it with me. It is, I am created and live in unconditional love. I'm going to invite you to, I'm going to say it one more time, and then I'm going to invite you to repeat it with me. I am created and live in unconditional love. Together. I am created and live in unconditional love. So I invite you to bring that with you throughout every day of this coming week. So let me quickly share a little bit. We have our Advent candles here, and rather than the theology behind that, I thought, what do each one of these candles mean to me personally? And sometimes I tie them into the Christmas story, sometimes I don't. So this is the gospel according to Reverend Jim, so hang with me, because this is not unity theology necessarily, but this is my own feeling about Advent. So when we started Advent, and you can see it right here, let me see if this camera will, no, now it's not. Okay, let me raise my hand up, it's gonna blink, and we're gonna move over to the candles. You can even see on these candles, that lower one is that first week. That first week is that first purple candle, hope and faith. For me, I think about hope and faith as that progression of the Christmas story throughout the Bible. Well, let me take a step back. Within unity, we talk about the Bible, we talk about Scripture, we talk specifically the Bible as our progression as humans, as progression of ourselves through the Old Testament and into the New Testament. So this is our progress that we make spiritually. I don't take the Bible literally. But when I hear stories from the Old Testament talks about the prediction of the Christmas story. In the book of Micah, talks about the Messiah being born in Bethlehem. In Hosea, it talks about Jesus, or it talks about, not Jesus, it talks about the Messiah spending time in Egypt as well. Isaiah, I love this quote. In fact, the Messiah, right? The music. Handel's Messiah uses these quotes from Isaiah. And this one I love. A virgin will bear a son, and his name will be Emmanuel. Choir probably is more familiar with that than even I am. The Old Testament for me is that idea, that first candle of faith and hope. The hope was the Old Testament thinking that it's coming. The New Testament is the faith that here it is. Right? That's that first candle for me. That divinity born unto us. That's that first candle. And then for me, I moved to that second candle. So that second candle is the one that's not burned nearly as much. That second purple candle. And for me, this is the journey of the wise men. I love to think of those wise men as we prepare our hearts to feel and know that Christ's presence within our lives. This is where we incorporate peace into our heart, peace into our lives. Each step those wise men took, and they were following that star. Metaphysically, I think of, and metaphysically we can interpret it many different ways, but I think of that star that they were following as they were heading towards that Christmas story, that peace within their hearts, as the wisdom within our own lives that we use to follow and make progress in our own lives. So, wise men following the star, to me, that's bringing me closer to my own inner peace, that lasting peace that I can enjoy within my life. And that third candle, which is the pink one today, the pink candle today that we lit for the first time. This is the renewal of life through the birth of our own inner Christ. Love, 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 love. We're going to talk about 3 different aspects of love today. For me, this is where Mary comes into the story. Again, this is just me. This isn't theology, but this is where Mary, for me, comes into the story. This is where Joseph shows up in the story as well. These are the parents and that parental love that I feel and know in my life as well. This is the story of bringing love into the world itself. And for me, angels show up. You know, there were angels that showed up for Mary. There were angels. The angel Gabriel showed up for Joseph. This is where angels and shepherds show up in the story of love as well. And we take time to listen to that divine message. These angels, these shepherds were messengers, right? They were announcing the birth. And that's what I think of in my life as well, is that wisdom that's announcing for me what's that next step for me to take in my journey, my spiritual journey. Angels, shepherds, and love manifesting as wisdom, bringing a greater awareness of the divine in my life and in your life as well. So the New Testament, and I love that Reverend Lisa read that quote from the Gospel of Luke. My soul magnifies the divine. My spirit rejoices is the quote that the Gospel of Mark attributes to Mary. Metaphysically, Mary, so we're not just talking about the person, the mother of Jesus, but metaphysically, Mary represents something for us within the Bible. What do we compare that to? How can we bring that into our own lives? It's not just historical. Metaphysical interpretation that we bring to the Bible is, what does it mean in our own hearts? How can I use this in my own growth, in my own spiritual growth? And for me, Mary represents that devotion to our own higher selves. Devotion to our higher selves. This is what I am devoted to within my life. That is what Mary represents to me. Again, that affirmation, I am created and live in unconditional love. I love that. So love is the topic today. And I'm going to ask, we're talking about love. We're talking about the Bible. I'm sprinkling some Bible in here. I'm asking you, this is my trivia question to you. If I'm such a lover of trivia, what does the Gospel of Matthew say is the greatest commandment? Shout it out. The greatest commandment. What?
Love your neighbor.
That, you're all right. You're all right. Let me narrow this down a little bit. Absolutely. Thank you for getting me on track. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. Absolutely. What's the key term there? Love. You shall love. Now, God is the word that's used in that. You shall love the divine. And we're going to explore this idea. So, and then the second part. What was the second part? Love your neighbor as yourself. So think about this greatest commandment here. We've got 3 parts to it. Love the divine, love yourself, love your neighbor, right? It's kind of worded, kind of funky. We have to kind of pull it apart a little bit. It's love, love, love. That's it. Love God, that creative power within our lives. Love ourselves. And then we love our neighbor. What does that really mean? What does that really mean? Well, loving ourselves, it's kind of obvious. Don't be so hard on yourself. Love yourself. Appreciate where you are in life, where you've come from. But what about love your neighbor? For me, this is loving all of humanity is part of it. Not all of it. Love thy neighbor is loving humanity. But it's also loving the animals on our planet, loving the trees, loving the hills, loving the valleys, the rocks, the oceans, the planet. This, for me, is love thy neighbor. In totality, love thy neighbor. So, loving God, loving me, loving the wholeness of the universe is what this greatest commandment is. And the Buddha might even say that this is the balance that we bring to our realization of love. It's not all about me. It's not all about external. This is the balance that we bring to it. And really, there can be no other way, really, in my opinion. It's love everything. Love everything. And I believe that this includes the totality of creation as well. But this is where I stray a little bit from the Christmas story, so have a little patience with me. But I also believe that this loving the totality of creation, I'm not going to delve deeply into this, so catch me today, catch me later on this week. Loving the total of creation also includes social justice. It also includes environmental protection. It also includes economic and social equality. Those things, to me, mean loving all of creation. We can't ignore those things. Peace, joy, love, faith, it all comes back around. This is the natural extension of that greatest commandment in my life. I totally believe that. This is the unconditional love that Advent means to me. All these things. This gift of love without expectation of receiving anything in return. This is the gift of the birth of the Christ within each of our hearts. I am created in love and live in that unconditional love. Know that I love you, I bless you, I appreciate you, and here's where this comes back in, weaves back into the story. I see the Christ in you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Well, I guess I'll stay up here, don't move, but I'm going to play a game and see if this thing falls, and it does. This is so exciting. As we play with technology, this is where we have a chance to move into meditation. So I invite you to make yourself comfortable, to sit up in your chair, maybe your feet flat on the ground, finding a place for your hands to rest, maybe in your lap. Palms can be up, your palms can be down, whatever feels comfortable. If it feels comfortable, closing your eyes. And then breathing. Noticing your breath. Feeling your breath. And part of this meditation is me speaking the words in first person, those I statements that I invite you to use as your own. Bring these words into your own heart. My own natural state is one of love, one of expectation, one of anticipation. For I am loved and I love. And I focus on this spiritual quality, this Advent virtue in my life. I bring love into my daily practice. I love all of creation. And I practice daily this concept of love through my practice of prayer and meditation. I then bring it out into the world in all my relationships. I have a consciousness that knows that those worldly circumstances do not dictate my reality. I create that reality, and love is the cornerstone of that reality. My reality is spiritual. My reality is based in love. And through that simple act of turning within whenever I need to, that pause, that can make all the difference in the world. I take another breath. I let it go. I move a little bit deeper within. Relax. And move within. I continue to receive that knowing of love within my life with each breath I take. As we spend the next minute or two in the silence. And now as we gently begin to come out of this silence, as we become aware of the room around us once again, when it feels right, opening the eyes, we spend this time to claim that idea of love in our world as our birthright. This is ours. And we are blessed with that knowledge. We feel it, we know it. So it is. Namaste. And I release the camera.
We're now going to move into our time of offertory and blessing. This is a time, as Michael so beautifully shared his own story, of expressing that gift that you might have been given back to that which has given it to you. And I know for me, what did you say? Tithing to what you love. We love to tithe to that which brings us love. I'm not quoting that exactly right, but so this is our time. So let's join together in our offertory blessing. Joyously, give the Spirit, knowing the divine presence, must and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, all that I receive. Thank you, God.